Thank you to Howl for sponsoring this video. Did you know you can get a free 50 cents on Howl when using my code 9? They also have a free case you can open and win up to $2,000 every single day. They're the biggest risk gambling site and have game modes such as Jackpot, Coin Flip, and The Wheel. Their shop has every item available to withdraw, and for a limited time, you can get a 40% bonus when depositing with crypto and gift cards. Check it out using the link in the description. Hello guys, my name is 9 and welcome back to another video. If you guys are new here, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, as it greatly helps absolutely everything that I'm doing here. And at this point, you guys are probably wondering the costing upkeep the base. So looking at this now, 47k stone, 54k metal frags, and 475 high qual. Be aware I fully armored the inner 2x2 core, and there are lots of garage doors spammed. Looking at the upkeep now, it's a very reasonable 10k stone, 11k metal, and 125 high qual. Very reasonable. Even a duo trio could pull this off. It's nice and cheap. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, either join my Discord link in the description or ask in the comment section below. I love you all, and I will see you in the rest of the video.
Alrighty guys, so starting at one of our two externals on this base, we'll look at the upkeep on these. Obviously it's extremely cheap, as it's only going to be upholding this very small wide gap, as the rest is kind of free-handed and stuff. So jumping up and over to here, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. We have obviously our little gatehouse with a little peak. It's obviously very basic, not crazy. We have some turrets right below here. You can obviously cover this up with triangles above if you so wish. Furnaces in our compound, you can fit more. However, I just put one on each side just to make it look nice. If we go to the right side here, you guys will see that here is that wide gap I was talking about, as it's very small. And you'll see here that our shooting floor is very unique. We're actually using free-handed peaks, like so. And don't worry, there's an alternate version of the shooting floor if you are needing that and you can't do the free hands. But keep moving here. Obviously, we have these little turret pods that have little bedroom houses to here. Excuse a little weird jump up, but obviously bedroom here. And coming through, you can see that it's the exact same thing on the other side. And jumping back over here, the wood makes it very easy just to get into base here. If you're familiar with my channel, you've been realizing that I really do like these bunkers that we're using here. So jumping up and over to here, I'll show you how these guys work real quick. If I place, let's say, a sheet metal triangle in this slot, it's 10% stable. This one's 28%, and now with a twig roof, we can open this guy up, just like so. And then we'll go into this guy. This guy just happens to be our storage bunker, so obviously just garage door it off with obviously a few boxes. Coming up and over to here, we'll go up and to the left just real quick, as we have a little bit of a core peak. We have a little semi-open core with 40 boxes, which is just absolutely beautiful. You can fit more smalls and stuff in here. However, with the new large boxes just being so big, a loot room like this is just absolutely insane. So you have more boxes up ahead, so 4 in each of these overhead compartments. You have your tier 3, a locker, tons of bags, and obviously just these beautiful loot rooms, which are actually being used as honeycomb. These ramps being rotated as such, just like this instead of the other way, will actually create honeycomb like this. So it's technically going to be more expensive for them to go through this wall. So if they go through this wall, they have to go through this ramp to keep going. Okay, so let's go to the other side here, which will actually lead us to our starter unit. So this other bunker, which is our other side, will lead us to our starter 2x2. So it's super basic, just tons of loot space, boxes, deployables, the whole 9 yards. Very simple. Here is our upkeep from ATC. It's decently cheap. Just be aware that this is a little inflated as to the just spammed garage doors and doors and everything. So it's a little inflated, but I'd say call it 9k, 8.5k if we're more accurate. So even going back out, try not to fall down there, and we can keep going up to the next level. So yet again, you see this little core peak right here. You can't access this box here from here, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can obviously block this off however you wish. Jumping up to the next level, you see this is where our batteries are. Super nice placement for these guys, followed by tons of turrets onto our shooting floor. So as you can see, turret will be over there. Apologies for there not being one there. So we'll go around this side. You'll see that these free-handed peaks are kind of beautiful. They're very simple, and instead of having to put 4 externals on this base, by doing the free-handed peaks like this, we only need 2 externals, which just makes it super nice for a small group. And obviously the angles are just, they're all that, you know, like the angles are just beautiful. And then obviously I've used this kind of walk around space as a bedroom with a little window partition. You could leave this out obviously and not put beds here, but doing it this way, if they're raiding from this side, this bed's pretty darn safe for now, and it just gives us a very good use of this shooting floor space that would otherwise just not be really touched. And obviously just a nice bedroom, more of these nice peeks into the compound. It is a full 360, as you might be able to tell, excuse me. And obviously here we have a little roof peak above this turret. Super basic, but she'll work. Coming up to the next level is obviously our roof. You have a spot for turrets underneath these guys, but honestly, you only really need 2 under these guys where I've placed them. You got a little, obviously, tons of space to land a heli. And if you guys are wondering about adding more raid cost, you can obviously add vending machine bunkers right here on the roof. And windmills can go on top of these guys, like so. And then obviously I left them off just as it looks a little nicer with the cinematics. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please join my Discord. Link is in the description below as always. Without further ado, let's get into the actual build, guys. Alrighty guys, so here is the footprint of the base, as I know some people like to see this beforehand. So obviously in our 2x2, we're using these squares as honeycomb on both sides. Obviously this will be a bunker module. This will be our entrance to our 2x2 starter / bunker module, same thing. Bunker opening, raised triangle to allow that twig to place. You see our free-handed parts of our shooting floor, 1 on each side, so there's 4 of them, which is beautiful. A little wide gaps, which are a little weird, but they get the job done. Our compound connectors that also have our turret pods and extra bedrooms and compound, just to kind of partition everything off. And yeah, that's about it. Now, I forgot to mention, mandatory disconnectables, kind of as always. So, without further ado, let's actually get down here and build the base. So I'll wipe the islands here. I will try not to use any symmetry for the most part of this build, but obviously I will use a little bit when it comes time. So we're starting off with the extremely basic 2x2 starter. You can obviously do any kind of starter you'd like. You may have to do a little editing if you turn this bottom into a additional bunker. However, I'm just going to be making the very basic starter unit that I like to do. And I'm just building this thing all in one go, not worrying too much, as obviously I wouldn't be getting killed on a real server. So obviously TC placement. Throw some boxes down. I mean, everyone knows that I do this at this point, so I'm not going to spend more than a few seconds on it. So, amazing. Box, box, and we're good, guys. Just for those guys that may need it. Always better to be safe. Now, down here, I do personally only go up to a tier 2, as up in my little, like, mini open core is usually where I will chuck my tier 3. So, obviously, fill in everything else you need. Spam garage doors at your earliest convenience. Obviously, it's only 2 in the space. Right here is a beautiful spot for an armor door if and when you get it at any point. And yeah, so at this point, upgrading things, whatever you can in this thing. And we're gonna go outside and honeycomb this guy a little bit. So jumping to the outside, I'm gonna shemale that. I'm going to toggle symmetry just for a second here. So excuse my thing for not working. It's okay, never mind. Coming over to this side, see if it works now. There we go. Half. Good. Okay. So off the, not the triangle side, we're simply going to be making 2 squares, like so. Now, honeycombing this as sheet metal is obviously best, but early game you're not going to have that. So making sure to place a little divider in here, like so. You're going to want to just simply wall this guy in and do this. This is effective honeycomb for now for a side pummel. And coming over this side, should be working beautifully. Exactly. We can wall this guy in. The right side and everyone is what we'll do, and place a frame like this. So I'll come over to this. So like out from this 2x2 section right here, the right side will have a frame like this. And as you can see, it's mirrored, so it's on this other side as well. Okay, I'm gonna toggle symmetry off just for a second to make sure this guy's gonna work by placing a frame in here. I'm actually going to place a little shelf in here. And I'm gonna seal this guy off. Okay. So now switching over to twig and toggling back on symmetry, I will be doing the bunker module. So going out with a triangle, a square, and a triangle, and then breaking the square and the first triangle. I'll show you what that looks like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to count 9 right triangles out. And if you have less space, you can go like 4 triangles out, break everything, and do stuff like that. So I'll actually show that because people were asking about that a lot last time. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Place a square. Now obviously you can do the 9 triangles out if you have the space, but if you're limited on space, this is beautiful. Now coming back, 1, 2, 3. Don't come back the 4th time. You want to leave this entire space empty. Breaking this guy. And now we're going to go 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's my 9th right triangle. So if you have limited space, you can obviously do that with even less space. Just don't let it touch the base, as that will mess with it. And you know it's working when this triangle is red. I know some people may be asking why aren't you using the other variation of this bunker. I personally like this version more, as it's just much easier to make sure you have everything right. So following along with this, I have put a raised triangle. If you can't, you can do a lowered one with half walls around it. It's okay. But then our square, 2 half walls, making sure these are half walls. And then what I will do is I'll come over on this side and I'll place a triangle towards me, like so. Now off this triangle, I'm gonna get one that is gonna be 28% stable. So if you see that right there, 28% stable, you've done it right. Placing this guy, like so, and then placing a roof to ensure the bunker works. If this breaks, we've done everything right. Okay, awesome. So we've done everything right here, so we can now stone this guy up. Hey, excuse my lag, guys. Not on purpose. And then we're gonna continue building this module. I'll stone this guy up. I like to use half walls here. Personal preference, I like to leave this little section open, so a shotgun trap is a beautiful spot for that. And then I'll usually put a furnace jump up just for now. And double door frames, and sealing this guy kind of off. Okay. Sealing this off like such. Pretty good. And then I like to wall this guy like this. 1 half wall, 1 low wall, as that's a little core peak. And if this frame is difficult to place, like obviously here I'm having troubles, go inside the bunker. I'm gonna place a furnace here for a jump up because we'll need it anyways. And that will make that jump up much easier. And then also, obviously, place your frame from the inside, it's an easier place. Then from this side, inside, easier placement, awesome. Okay, now continuing through, if you do have sheet metal, this is just beautiful to sheet metal this right away. It's super cheap to do so it's kind of a given. If you have it, do it. And then making sure the ramps are rotated this way. Something to note is you can actually place the double door frames like here. Like you can see I can place them right now. If these are stone, like so, you won't be able to place this. So either A, what you can do is place this beforehand, then place what would be your stone like this. So order of operations kind of thing right here. And then obviously upgrade them at your earliest convenience. And we're good. And obviously this is mirroring on every side. Now this overhang area that we're gonna have more box space is a little weird. So we're gonna do this pretty simply, but if you have the sheet metal, obviously do sheet metal. So we'll do it like this. We'll build it in like such. In the middle of this guy, we're gonna put 2 frames to kind of partition the entire thing out. Half walls on top of or actually rather full walls on top, because you don't want to waste the cost on that. You want to do a twig square like so, a half wall to then build in this at half height. So it's like 1.5 in this area, like so, as you can see that. It gives us a little bit of like an overhead area. And then this is almost like a pancake layer, if you would. And if you want to add low wall honeycomb, like this, or half wall with stone, you can, but it's not gonna really matter, in my opinion. You have this partition, which is more than good enough for me. And then obviously seal this off at your earliest convenience. It'll look a little confusing, but obviously it's pretty darn efficient. Okay, expanding to this guy one more. We're gonna place a wall like this, and like this. This next jump up would technically be our roof. But walling this guy off here, I would like to place at least a double door at here. So this would be a nice exit here. And then I'd like to jump up to here. Excuse the little like bounce back from that. And then I'll place another double door on top here. So that gives me, well, obviously my exits of my base. Placing some braziers and coming down here. If you haven't already, obviously, put some deployables down. And now, I'll show you this real quick. You can actually place what I would say would just be a simple lowered triangle like this in wood, as that will be nice for now. And then obviously we will put another one like this out of what will be sheet metal, but for now it doesn't really matter. So just leave this wood to give you a nice jump up into base. Okay. At any point in the wipe, if you are really stacked on high qual and sheet metaling and high qualling this foundation at your earliest convenience is beautiful, as it is a technical weak point, and then sheet metaling these walls just to give you that advantage. And same with high qual. This base is super amazing. The second you can high qual these roofs like this, it just raises every cost just exponentially. It's beautiful. So at this point, I want to come outside and honeycomb the bunkers, because right now they aren't really honeycombed. So sheet metaling these walls into what would be the bunkers or entrances, we're simply going to be placing some stone honeycomb. And now you can place a floor triangle like this just to partition that, but it's optional. And then building this, I believe, too high. Yep. And on both sides, obviously. Perfect. And as you can tell, it is a little bit of a weird looking base. It's a long guy, so it's a little awkward, but the payout is beautiful. So coming back and up into here, we are going to build the 4 freehands. We're just going to be quickly building this little portion for our turret to go. So I want to window these guys off, get a little bit of a roof peak, because that's always, you know, super nice early game, like so. And then I'll be switching this to a garage door, and then I like to do 2 double doors like this. And obviously, if you are running to the point already where you're doing electricity, batteries go beautifully right there. And obviously, we use whatever tier window you have, but I'll just be using a glass one like that for now. Okay, adding garage doors throughout, as that is always a beautiful thing. You don't technically need a garage door in the slot. It's just, if you have it, why not, you know? But technically, to be efficient, you don't need it. Okay, adding these doors. Placing these boxes is a little wonky, I will tell you. You kind of have to like wiggle it back and forth until you get the right spot, but once you do, just kind of walk right to left with these guys, like so. And then these top boxes, I don't suggest placing like your tier 3 or anything here until you place these top boxes, as it just makes it way easier, like so. And I like standing back for these guys. It's a little bit of a weird operation, but it is beautiful and will work. This upper hand portion, we're going to be doing like so. So like 2 triangles, like so. And then I like to do a floor frame. Now, I will grab usually a furnace right here and place it like such to jump up into this area. Because this is obviously like a little crawl space or whatever you want to call it. And obviously now we have to add these top boxes. And the best way that I've kind of found to do that is there's a few methods of getting more space in here, but personally I like the simplistic standing. This is probably the best way to do it, we'll give you. Standing about right here and just wiggling it as far over as possible. Same with this guy then, as far back. If you can make that jump, I failed it. And then I'll fail it again because I'm great at this game, but it doesn't matter. Coming over here, either placing your box like this, it is a little more difficult to get this guy, but placing this guy like this, and I'll actually remove this box from now and make it easier, than placing this guy like this, and then jumping on and over to here. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, if you're up here, to get the good box placement, you're either gonna have to kill yourself or down yourself to get yourself back through this hole. But that's not really a worry, because then we have more box space, so it's worth it in the long run. Come on, guys. All right, coming through here, we're gonna start sheet metaling some of the more important parts. If you haven't already in your core, I'm gonna jump down here. Please HQM at least a good portion of it. Whatever you can, I'll sheet metal this guy. Sheet metal this guy. This ramp is always good to sheet metal. You get the whole point. Upgrade your base, guys. We're doing good. Obviously, spam bags throughout this entire area if you haven't. This is also, depending on your height of your base, this is also a great spot to kind of like spam more furnaces. I'll usually have like a good amount of furnaces just in this little area. It doesn't mess with mobility, and yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, I like to sheet metal this foundation. I forgot to mention. Apologies about that, guys. And then you don't have to do a ramp here, but if you want it to look nice, I like. Oop. Apologies. I like doing a ramp there, just because it looks nicer and the boxes are good looking. Obviously, tons of storage in this open core, so we're doing good. Sheet metal these walls is actually really advantageous for us. I'm going to toggle off symmetry, because obviously we don't need tier 3s. So I like to throw a tier 3 here on this side, and I usually like a locker on my other side. Otherwise, like a research table or repair bench is always beautiful. Okay. Now comes the tricky part that is obviously, well, tricky, as I said. Alrighty guys, now on the outside of the base, we are going to be building our externals and our freehand shooting floor. So this is a little weird, so you're going to have to follow me a little closely here, as order of operations is very important. So we're going to start off by building our external. So to do so, off the squares where our loot rooms are, we're going to place 2 triangles and 3 squares, breaking everything, and then coming back with triangles. And to ensure this is footprints right, you should be left with this kind of like 3 triangle in here. But we're gonna want to break these as they'll otherwise block our freehands. So upgrading this to sheet metal, stone, this is where our gatehouse is, just to show you where it goes. Upgrading this frame to sheet metal as it's more important. And then obviously I'm adding all the embrasures and doing everything now, but you do this at your own pace. And then coming outside and jumping back into twig, we will build our disconnectable, upgrading this guy to wood, and then building sheet metal portion of this guy. We are doing pretty good. 2 garage doors. Breaking this little twig and connecting it now with sheet metal. Absolutely beautiful. Now to do our freehand. Now be aware, like I said in the tour, there is an alternate version of this shooting floor where if you mess up at any point, you build too fast and you overlook something, you can still do peaks on this base. Just the freehand is obviously way better, but otherwise it's okay. So yeah, let's do this now. So off of in between the square and the honeycomb triangle here, when we're placing 2 triangles, it is square, like so. And you'll see this kind of lines up by this square doesn't place here, so you kind of know you're in the right place by looking right here and seeing this, and then breaking these 2 triangles and placing 2 twig low walls on this side. Okay. Now coming as close to this area as possible, so I'm shoving myself in this corner. We'll be grabbing, obviously, a weapon out that has a crosshair. And at the bottom tick of the crosshair, so we want to aim this bottom tick where I have it right now, which is going to be right here, where I'm aiming down sights. So right at the top of this little white piece, right here. And you aim it right here, right in between those 2 low walls. Switching to our hammer and demolishing both. Grabbing a foundation out without moving your mouse or doing any movements of any kind with your hands. You now back up ever so slightly, just tap S. That's perfect. That's all you need to do. Placing the square and breaking the build out to ensure you have it right. Place a square, triangle, triangle. If that places like so, you are good. And obviously it looks a little weird. And then if you want to ensure it's fully done, place 2 more triangles like this. Obviously you can't do it on that side because we haven't built the other side. And if this works, if you can place this here and this here, you won't be able to place things right here on these guys, but don't worry because we'll build up on this spot. And to ensure this doesn't decay, let's place a frame right here. You see how this connects? So look at this. This is obviously this is not connected right now because there's nothing it's connected to. I'm going to be sheet metaling these so they don't break. This is technically still disconnected. Watch this wall conditional as I place a frame in the middle. Now it's connected. That's what we want. And I'll be sheet metaling this connection just to make sure you guys don't lose it. That's what you should do. Okay, obviously same thing on this side. So coming over to here, 2 twig triangles, our square. This looks right. Low walls, coming to the same spot, lining it up right at that bottom tick. Breaking these 2 guys. Foundation, ever so slightly pull back, and coming to the same conclusion. And then obviously I'm testing this guy, making sure I'm all good on this regard. Obviously this isn't connected right now, so don't worry too much about this. Making sure this works. I should be able to place my frame here. Good. Can't place frames here. Awesome. Can place frame in the middle. Perfect. And I'll obviously place in this frame so I don't mess anything up further. That looks absolutely perfect. So we're good. Obviously a little confusing. It's a little difficult, so we'll go with what we have right now though. And then I'm going to be upgrading these foundations and placing frames so they stop decaying. Oop, apologies. We'll stone this, sheet metal this, and sheet metal this. Okay, continuing on with the base, let's keep by going. I'm going to go in twig for a second. This triangle isn't needed to be upgraded, so I'm just going to use it as placeholder. Apologies. Like that. Like that. Perfect. Now out of a twig square, place 1. We'll do this as a wood actually, because this is what I had it in the tour. And now I'll be placing the sheet metal bottoms here, and this will be our little compound partition, which I love so much because it gives me turret pods on the top using half walls. And then to connect this guy, just in case this wood is destroyed, this would be disconnected. So place a sheet metal frame like so, which is technically floating, but it's perfect. Like so. And obviously add your, apologies for just being bad on the movement. Right there is obviously a beautiful spot. Compound is super easy to place now that we're at this portion. So wood walls I like to use. I'm gonna jump on the ground here. Just place it straight off. This is a beautiful and easy compound. So just straight off of this guy, straight off of this guy, and this, like I said, it's you'll have a little gap if you don't practice this beforehand. Like always, I usually say this, but boom, I try again just to show that a little practice goes a ton and a long way. Next portion. And it's obviously a super small compound. It's like I believe it's 12 wall, if my math's correct here. Yeah, 12 wall. And super small, but super compact and beautiful. At this point, I do like to come over here with twig triangles. And I'll fly to make this easier, but you'll have to do a little build up for where I'm kind of flying to place your barricades. Only need 8 for this base, which is amazing. That is awesome. And at this point, we'll be building up our shooting floor. Right now, this triangle is technically decaying, so to stop that, you're going to just build it up to the shooting floor level. So build it up 2 floors, place a square here, go up in this guy. We can honestly just start building our shooting floor, how it's intended. Coming up on this guy, you're simply going to be building this guy up on all sides, 3 high, placing it like so. Boom. 1 high on this guy before jumping, and I like to do a little door peek. It's obviously personal preference. Okay. Start grabbing our basic embrasures to just kind of get this guy ironed out. Like so. Nope, apologies. Oh yeah, this little empty slot here should just be a sheet metal, like this. That's perfect. As you can tell, our shooting floor is taking shape quite quickly. If you have a door, obviously put it in this slot, by the way. Next part, we're gonna add 2 door frames in these spots. Don't put them anywhere else, those will mess with, you won't be able to place them here, for that matter. Right here, we're gonna be placing a window. I wanna kind of point this out. Make sure not to place door frames where this wall is being placed, like where this is, because it'll mess with the bedroom that will go up on the roof, and we don't want that. Okay, building up another level. I'll glass window this guy early. Putting 2 more of these guys, a half wall, and then I like to make this guy early so I don't mess anything up. I'll glass window these guys in. From the inside, I like to place my roof triangles. As you can tell, roof takes shape very quickly. Jump this guy off. I will place a frame here, and a frame here, like so, to continue this shooting floor pattern. Off of these guys, finishing like so. Coming inside here, placing these roof triangles from the inside makes it very, very easy. Obviously, I gotta run around to the other side here, but just inside like so. To place them like such, gives it a cool look. Jumping to where I am here and placing a square roof tile. Ooh. Apologies, that's gotta be a little bit of a stab bug. There we go. Apologies about that. It happens sometimes. If that happens in your build, it's the this square is what's misplaced. And if you want to fix that, just add another stability thing here, but it should be okay. I'm not too worried. Did I do the same thing on this side? Yeah. Just making sure it's connected to this outside frame, and it'll be fine. Worst case, it's not the worst case. You can add stability from below. Yeah. That is everything to do so on the roof. Obviously, sheet metal and stuff is always awesome, but it's not really all that needed for the most part. So, personal preference here. Adding a turret up here. Windmill spots are going to be extraordinarily simple in this base. We're just going to be building 2 up on this guy. Actually, sorry, wrong spot in here. We want it on here. Gives a little more distance in between. And I don't anticipate you guys needing more than 2 windmills on this base, but if you need more, put them off the externals, or not the externals, but the gatehouses. And that's always a good spot to do it. Boom, 2 windmills, awesome. If you guys are still wanting to increase the raid cost of this base, obviously I still have to place more stuff here, but to show it, the best spot for a vending machine bunker is right here, like so. And now you should be able to, I reckon. 1 minute, oh, there we go, okay. You should be able to place a frame like this if you want, like here. So then I will use this guy and then let me look up to make sure I'm not blocking. So actually, I'd say you'd rather put it on this side. Yeah, let's put it on this side. To place this vending machine bunkers, obviously you just shove this vending machine in the middle as close to this wall as possible. To open it, you grab a twig roof tile, pretend that's a twig, boom, and you come to the side that it needs to be, and open. And then obviously rotate it like that. And then these are also amazing for shops to put on your roof instead of putting them behind doors or something. You can just use it as a natural bunker. You can also just bait bunkers. I know people have talked to me about that before. It's a very cool concept. Another amazing spot for an auto turret holding this battery area is right here. I sheet metal this like such. I don't talk about it, but I didn't show it in the tour. But amazing spot for turrets are simply just like right here in the middle of open core, and or like in this spot right here. But obviously that's all personal preference because I didn't even add turrets here. The best thing for these loot rooms is honestly just putting shotgun traps in these little slots on every single side, and shotgun traps like up in these spots. It's just super nasty. Okay, continuing through on here, obviously we haven't added our turrets over here. We haven't added our large furnaces in compound, to which I just like going off like right here, off the both freehands. Beautiful. In these guys, we gotta do some bedrooms. So to do so, we're gonna grab our better locker and our large box. And these bedrooms are amazing now since the large box buff, I'd call it. You just get so much storage. Like, you don't even need 2 large boxes. You can fit 2 large boxes, as you can see, but like a locker and a box that big is just like, you don't need more kits than that in a bedroom usually. I wouldn't reckon. Okay, coming into this guy. If you need, I like to usually replace these furnaces at this point because I like to have way more furnaces in my first kind of level. And I'll put 3 here, and obviously a little gap here just because I'm not the best at furnace placement. Jump it down to this guy, let's run over to here, and let's place what I'd like to do, let's place a garage door here. So deleting these furnaces because they're placed due to symmetry, and then simply from this location I can place all my boxes. This one's hard to place, I like to put a box beneath me, and then that is a nice little bunker. Something to note is you want to HQ on these guys, but if and when in your core bunker, I suggest upgrading this wall right here to HQ on. This foundation isn't technically needed, sorry about that. This foundation, the outside, if you can sheet metal these bottom foundations on this guy, along with obviously, I forgot to, but sheet metal the outside of this honeycomb, so like such. So apologies about doing this a little weirdly, I'm not symmetrying it. But like such, that's technically much more efficient. And then if you guys are like, I mean, slowed in on HQM, I don't know how else to put it. HQMing this bunker wall, like so, just do it. If you got the HQM, like this entire thing, like this, should be HQ. You know, this foundation doesn't technically matter, but you get the point. HQM it if you do. And then obviously another armored door here if you got it, but it's all down to your wife. But for the video, technically sheet metal you'll be fine. Sheet metal is efficient. The raid cost doesn't really differ from HQM. It adds a few more rockets in reality, but that's up to you. It's personal preference, man. It's your base now. Okay, coming through and keeping going, upgrading anything I can really think of. Oh yeah, apologies. More bedroom placements. I believe I don't even have a Dropbox in my inventory. Look at me. That is disappointing. That's my fault. Okay. I have to place my beds like this. Our little windows like this. And our windows, our lockers like that. And then higher up on this is where you place these guys. So, an amazing spot for your turrets and shooting floor, other than those spots by the batteries through those double doors, because I like to keep this thing partitioned off, is to grab this guy, because you can rotate this guy if you want to shoot out this. If, you know, it's an angle. It's all personal preference, like I say every time. This is good. Let me think. I believe that about does it for the base, other than obviously I should replace on this side more beds. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, I know the freehanding in this build is a little more difficult. So what I'll be doing here in just a second is I'll show the alternate version of the shooting form. But if you guys don't have any other questions of the normal base, this about does it for me. I don't really know what else I can say to you guys. So without further ado, I love you all, and please, if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Okay, so going right into the next part. If you couldn't get this freehand, we'll just delete this like such.
if you couldn't get the freehand for whatever reason, I get it. It happens. Like, you're on console or just whatever happens. Now, you could just wall this guy off like so, but we should make at least some sort of peak. You reckon? Because otherwise, it's just like, you gotta have something. So let me just destroy this entire area. So what we're gonna simply do is add a type of door peak. And what I usually like to do, because this angle covers almost to here, it won't be I believe, a full 360, but simply by adding, like either, okay, there's a few options. So either just by adding something like these guys right here. So adding like a frame like this. So either you can frame off like this. Sorry, wrong way. I've done it wrong. So this way. Okay, it's weird, like I said before. So I'm gonna wall this guy like this. We can triangle this guy. Like, sorry, I haven't done these peaks in so long. It's hard for me to. I want an alternate version of this, just super simple. Come around like two. What we'll do is we'll just do this first for now. And build this guy up 2 levels. I'll go below to place these easier. Placing roof tiles like so. Boom. This will give you a little peek into compound. This is obviously there might be a better way to do this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but it's hard to find them nowadays, especially. So what we gotta do is we gotta do a little bit of a weird shoot floor. So worst case, if you can't get the freehand, this honestly is probably the best you have. This gives you a full peek into this part of the compound. You still have the side angle that gives you up into over here, but it's a little harder. So the peek isn't as good, but it will do. Also, I mean, you do that on both sides, you'll be okay. So I apologize for being a little wonky as I'm doing it like now as a little, whole thing. But I wanted to give you guys another option just in case some of you were struggling with the freehand. Just a little bit of something, okay? It's not perfect, so if you have any better ideas, freehand, have fun with it, it's your base. If you find another version, let me know. Post in my Discord, I'd love to share it with you guys. So without further ado, for a second time, I love you guys all, and I will see you in the next video.